Marshall University traces its origins to the founding of the Marshall Academy in 1837. The Academy was named in honor of John Marshall, the fourth Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court. Many adjectives used by contemporaries to describe John Marshall are a patriot and nationalist, a gifted leader, an intellectual, a good-humored man with a warm personality, and an uncomplicated outlook. As the fourth Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, serving for 35 years, John Marshall shaped the court into an influential third branch of government, one that defined the Constitution as the supreme law of the land, subject to the court's jurisdiction. Further, he said, the decisions of the Supreme Court were final. While these are concepts we now take for granted, John Marshall's ideas were revolutionary when first put forth. At the time, many of his decisions were unpopular and highly criticized. Despite the criticism, John Marshall endured, and the opinions of the Supreme Court have withstood the test of time. And John Marshall has become celebrated as the expounder of the Constitution. Supreme Court Judge Felix Frankfurter said of him that,
"The decisive claim to John Marshall's distinction as a great statesman is as a judge, and he is the only judge who has that distinction."
Marshall University's creed begins,
Inspired by the example of John Marshall, we, the students, faculty, and staff of Marshall University, pledge to pursue the development of our intellects and the expansion of knowledge, and to devote ourselves to defending individual rights and exercising civic responsibility.
These are not just idle words. These words are the rightful legacy to honor John Marshall, a man who throughout his life greatly admired the superior intellect and strength of character of his father, and a man who prized education and believed in fulfilling one's civic responsibilities. An 8-foot bronze statue of John Marshall stands in the circle between the John Deaver Drinko Library and the Memorial Student Center, facing John Marshall Drive. Created by sculptor William Behrens and unveiled in October 1998, the figure portrays the Chief Justice in his judicial robes stepping forward. The book held in the left hand symbolizes his early education at home on the Virginia frontier. The 6-foot base is engraved with the words Revolutionary Soldier, Definer of the Constitution, Devoted Husband and Father. If you have the opportunity to experience a home football game in the Joan C. Edwards Stadium, you will hear the We Are Marshall chant. The We Are Marshall chant has been around since football games in the 1980s at the university's old Fairfield Stadium, where the stadium scoreboard would light up with alternating arrows to indicate which side of the crowd should lead the cheer. Since then, We Are Marshall has become the rallying cry for a resilient school and community. Just outside the Memorial Student Center at the heart of Marshall's Huntington campus stands the Memorial Fountain, a visible reminder of the 75 lives lost in the November 14th, 1970 plane crash. Standing more than 13 feet high, the memorial was created by sculptor Harry Bertoia. It was his hope the fountain would
commemorate the living rather than death, on the waters of life, rising, receding, surging, so as to express upward growth, immortality, and eternity.
The memorial fountain was dedicated on November 12, 1972, in the memory of the plane crash victims. Each year, a memorial service is held on the anniversary of the tragedy. The ceremony includes the traditional laying of a wreath, and the fountain's water is turned off until the following spring. Visitors seek out the fountain, and for students and alumni, it is a landmark, a statement of resilience, constancy of spirit, and a flowing future. The bronze plaque bears a simple, eloquent inscription.
They shall live on in the hearts of their families and friends forever, and this memorial records their loss to the university and to the community.
The iconic fountain in the heart of our campus reminds the Marshall family every day of the loss we faced and how our community rallied around Marshall in our time of need. Our beloved mascot, Marco, makes appearances around our campus and in the community. Marco's name originated from Marshall College. Although caricatures of Marco existed earlier, Marco made his first appearance at a basketball game in 1965. The role of Marco is played by current students sporting the suit at athletic games and events in the Huntington community. Our fight song reminds us we are sons and daughters of Marshall University and representatives of this institution. As you represent the Marshall family on and off campus, we hope you are reminded of the strong heritage and honor similar values John Marshall carried.